If you've been watching the channel, then you'll know that Star Wars Racer is one of my favorite Star Wars games ever made. Yes, this is another Star Wars Racer video. Just the other day, I discovered a new feature in the game, something I didn't know about beforehand. There's a hidden menu you can unlock in Star Wars Racer through the use of a cheat code, which gives you access to some crazy abilities and also gives you an insight into how the game actually works, how its mechanics are built, how all the pod races are balanced, and the menu allows you to mess around with the stats and create your own unique, crazy pod racing experience. So today, what I'm going to do is take you through this menu, talk to you a bit about how this game is actually built and why I love it so much, and also show you a few hidden pod races you can only unlock through the use of a cheat code. I only just discovered these guys. For 21 years, I didn't know these guys were in the game. I've been really enjoying making these videos about Star Wars Racer, if you haven't noticed, and I'm really glad that I can share some of these moments with you guys. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Since Star Wars Racer relaunched on PS4 and Nintendo Switch a couple weeks back, it's probably been the Star Wars game I've spent the most time playing during these past few weeks. It's a huge throwback for me, but what a lot of people don't know about this game is that it actually goes a lot deeper than what you see face value. The driving mechanics are very well developed, and you have a lot of control over how your pod moves, and each pod in the game drives uniquely, with unique characteristics and stats. Each one has its own set of stats for things like top speed, acceleration, turning, drift. Actually, since discovering the drift button last week, it's really changed the way I race in this game. It's a whole new dynamic. No longer do I have to brake really hard when going into some of the tighter turns. I can drift around them. And part of what I love about this game and old games like this is that there's no tutorial or guide on how to play and how to actually drive the pods. The game doesn't tell you there's a drift button or a boost or that you can turn your pod on its side. It's up to you to figure this stuff out yourself. A very old-fashioned style game that doesn't hold your hand. Some of the maps can also be quite confusing as to where you're supposed to go, which path you're supposed to follow. Some of them don't have a map switched on during gameplay, so navigating some of the wider open areas with no clear defined path or track might take you a few goes to figure out where to actually race. I don't think it's possible to win every race on your first attempt at playing this game, especially on some of the harder tracks, because you have to learn them first. So let's talk about this secret menu. It's called the Debug menu, and the only way of accessing it is by first putting a cheat code into the game. In the profile creation menu, if you type RR tangent abacus, all as one word, then press OK, and once you're in the race, if you press the pause button, then press up, left, down, right on the D-pad, and you'll see this option come up called Game Cheats. So let me take you through what all of these do. First up, we have the debug level. This one can be set as high as 6, but I'm not sure what it actually does. We're off to a great start here. Invincibility makes your pod racer invincible, so even if you crash into a wall, you won't explode, and you can't take damage. AI level is the difficulty of the AI, which comes in handy on some of the easier tracks. For more experienced players, Star Wars Racer's AI can be a little too easy at times, so being able to pump this up makes the game more challenging the longer you play. Although you will have to modify this each time you load into a map. The settings reset after each track. AI spread, I'm pretty sure, is the distance the AI race apart from one another. So if you see here, I've turned the AI spread all the way down so all the pods are sticking together. Whereas if I turn the AI spread up, they spread out over the track as the race progresses. Death speed min determines the speed at which your pod racer will be destroyed on impact. So let's say I'm traveling at 325 here. If I hit a wall at 325 or above, my pod racer will explode. And death speed drop, I'm not really sure about. Let me know if you know what this one does, as well as spline markers. I don't know what this is either. And then we have Star Wars Racer's most hilarious cheat, mirrored mode, which allows you to play Star Wars Racer in a mirrored version of all the maps. Why this is a thing, I have no idea. Just a simple cheat, I guess, for the developers to include in the game. Something they could have just put in easy. And I guess it does make the tracks kind of different different. Makes twice the amount of tracks. But this next option, edit vehicle stats, is where I think things get really interesting. All the AI have better anti-skid stats than the pod you're racing as, and this allows them to turn corners much easier, sticking to the track with ease. And of course, we can modify this for our pod as well. I'll show you that in a bit. And the AI also has slower acceleration, which is why in a lot of cases we're able to take off faster than them, especially towards the start of the track. Okay, time to mess around and have some fun with some of these stats. So first, I'm going to turn up the speed, the acceleration, and have the vehicle height set all the way at the top. This allows the pod to race higher off the ground and to avoid collisions with rocks and other stuff. Each pod has a different vehicle height. I'm not sure if this affects traction as well. I don't think it does. I also turned up the cooling and air brake to compensate for the increased speed. And just look at this. How crazy is this? Look at the speed I'm going here. It's crazy. Barely in control of the pod. So you could make all the AI do the same thing as this, go this fast with similar stats and just have a crazy hectic race. Next, I thought I'd try and increase the turn rate and turn response, and this made my pod even more uncontrollable. I thought this would compensate for the increased speed, but instead it just made my pod turn way too quickly into the wall. Look at me struggling to get around these corners and just keep the pod on track. I was going so fast I even overlapped the AI. So there you go. I set a new lap record of 34 seconds. Crazy.
It's a new lap record!
So also, entering the RR Tangent Abacus cheat into the game, which was initially made for the Nintendo 64 version of Star Wars Racer, also unlocks 2 pod races that can only be unlocked through the use of cheat codes. Jin Riso is one of these, completely replacing the racer Mars Guo, and Sai Yunga replaces Bullseye Navior, this creepy guy with the single eye. Each of these characters also have their own cheat code if you only want to unlock the single character, because using the Tangent Abacus cheat code, I'm pretty sure unlocks all pod races in the game before you unlock them by completing the tournaments. You'll have Sebulba and everyone else unlocked and ready to use on this save file after activating this cheat. And as far as I know, there's no way of going back on this unless you start a new save file. I love this about this game though. They're kind of like hidden Easter eggs, but only a select few number of players back in 1999 when this game was released would have known about them. I wish more newer games had Easter eggs like this. So next up, I thought I'd make all the AI really dumb and slow, making them all stick together and reducing their top speed. This is pretty much the only time you see all the pod races sticking together. I need to try this again, but at a much higher speed. I feel like it'd be just crazy. It'd be amazing to see all 11 AI staying together as one group, and whether that would even work. It's funny hearing them repeatedly all yell taunts at one another because they're all so close together. This is like a practice lap where everyone's going slow. And then I also managed to somehow break the game. It felt that way anyway. Here, I'm pretty sure I was holding X or the boost button, depending on what platform you're playing on, and this would cause the game to auto race. I think that's what it's doing here anyway. I'm no longer in control of the pod. It's like the game is fast forwarding the race and you just get to watch it play out. But then it also glitched me outside of the map, and after the zero gravity section of this track, my pod seemed to be glitched, still thinking it was in the zero gravity section. Spinning, going upside down, but there you go. I'm not really sure what this function is for, but it's there if you want to use it. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you're not playing Star Wars Racer, I'd highly recommend it. It's incredibly fast paced and the gameplay holds this thing up even though it's over 20 years old. Amazing game I'm still going to get so much more out of. And I'd love to know if you've been enjoying these Star Wars Racer videos. Let me know in the comments. And you can find some of my other Star Wars Racer videos here. Last week I checked out this Mos Eisley track. I had never raced before because my old game used to crash. And also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars gaming, news, retro Star Wars games, and general things I'm enjoying. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.